This video covers the electrical system in the Thunder Roadster GTR. First, let's go over the spark plug wires and how they connect to the coil. So you can see I've got the coil mounted right there on the firewall along with the rectifier there. And the rectifier, the Gen 1 and Gen 2 BUSAs use different rectifiers, so make sure you purchase the correct rectifier for your motor. I'm going to use the car engine configuration and call cylinder 1 the one that's at the front of the car instead of using the motorcycle cylinder numbering system. So using the car numbering system, the number 1 spark plug goes to, if you mount the coil as I did, number 1 spark plug wire will go right there to the bottom left hand corner. The number 2 spark plug will go to the top right. The number 3 will go to the top left, and therefore the remaining last one will go to the bottom right of the coil, assuming you mount the coil as I did, where the electrical connector comes in to the bottom. Okay, so speaking of the electrical connectors, let's take a look at the harness. So here's the wiring harness that comes with it, and you know, all the leads are labeled. This CPS is the crankshaft position sensor, not to be confused with the camshaft position sensor. And then you've got your pigtail that's labeled CAN. That's just like a CAN bus for hooking up to a laptop. So that does not connect to anything when it's on the car. You have a wire that's unfinished, which is labeled coil. And you can see there's 3 wires on that. So you have to finish that connector. They give you a connector for it, which is right here. And essentially, using the wiring diagram that they provide, you have to go ahead and hook it up. So you'll use essentially this one right here, the distributorless wash coil configuration. When you hook up the wires, it's the same as the distributorless forward coil configuration. So you just attach this plug to these leads and finish that connection. There's also like another pigtail that comes with it. This is for the crankshaft position sensor. It connects into the end of the harness. Right here. Connects into that, and then it's like an adapter. It adapts from the harness to the connector on the motor. So again, that's the crankshaft position sensor, which connects to the lead that's labeled CPS. So that's it for that. There's this cable here, which is labeled interface. That's actually for all the gauges. And you'll see that there are 4 colored wires, and the coding for those colored wires are right here. So you can see the purple is 12 volts to the relay, white is also 12 volts via relay, and then the gray one is a gear shift light, I believe for once you set the shifting point in the ECU. And the green wire, they call it tacho, but it's the for the tachometer. I've made all these connections, and everything works. And there's how the wires are connected in this little connector. That connector comes apart. So that's it for that. And then back to the motor. The other thing here's the rectifier. There's 4 wires that come out of the rectifier. 2 black ones with white stripes and 2 black ones with red stripes. We do not use these 2 black wires. with white stripes. They're not used because we don't use the electronic fuel injection. So, but you do need to feed power to these two other wires, the dark wires, the black wires with the purple stripes. They have to have power to them via the ignition switch. So when you turn on the ignition, that fires up the rectifier. So the motor basically has power that goes to the rectifier and power that goes into the wiring harness. There is a power lead that goes into the wiring harness via these relays I talked about. The purple and the white wire have to have power. So that's how basically this electrical system gets power. I think that covers most of it. Obviously you got to connect the ground wire here to a ground. There's the pigtail that I talked about earlier, which goes into the wiring harness. Basically it's an adapter that allows you to connect right here into the crankshaft position sensor, which is in there. And then there's the other connector coming out of the rectifier, which plugs into your motor as well. So at first I wasn't sure what to do with these other 4 wires that came out of the rectifier. I thought, well, maybe just making these connections was sufficient. But after looking at the wiring diagram for the Hayabusa, I saw that the rectifier has to be powered via these 2 colored wires. In order for the rectifier to power up, you have to have power running to the rectifier directly. So anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.